In the heart of the sprawling metropolis of Manila, where neon lights blazed through the night and the thumping bass from countless nightclubs echoed through the darkened streets, there was a story that had long been whispered among the city's residents, a story of terror and vengeance, a story of the Tiyanak. In the midst of this chaotic urban jungle, there lived a young woman named Maria. She was once a vibrant soul, but her life had taken a cruel turn. She had lost her child, a sweet baby girl, in a tragic accident during a drug-fueled party. The guilt and sorrow weighed heavy on Maria's heart, driving her to the brink of madness. She couldn't forgive herself for being neglectful, for allowing her child to be in harm's way. As the days turned into months, Maria's grief twisted into something darker. She withdrew from her friends and family, her once bright eyes now dull with sorrow. She began to hear whispers, faint and eerie, calling her name in the dead of night. At first, she thought it was her imagination playing tricks on her, a manifestation of her guilt-ridden mind. One fateful evening, as the moon hung low in the sky, Maria was drawn to the disreputable back alleys of the city. It was as if an unseen force guided her steps, and she found herself standing before an ancient balit tree, a tree said to be the dwelling place of supernatural beings. Trembling, Maria placed a wilted bouquet of white roses at the tree's gnarled roots, and whispered a heart-wrenching plea for forgiveness. It was then that she heard the faint cry of an infant coming from within the balit tree. Her heart leaped in her chest as she dug frantically into the dirt, uncovering a tiny bundle. Inside was a baby, innocent and fragile, with eyes that held an otherworldly wisdom. Maria recognized the child as her own, and tears streamed down her face as she cradled the infant in her arms. But something was amiss. The baby's cries grew louder, more insistent, and its tiny body began to morph and contort. With a sickening crack, the baby's bones snapped, and its soft skin turned to scales. In a matter of seconds, the baby had transformed into a grotesque creature, Tiyanak. The creature hissed and lunged at Maria, its sharp teeth bared. She barely managed to evade its attack, stumbling backward. The Tiyanak circled her, its eyes filled with an unnatural malevolence. It was her child, yet not her child. It was something else entirely, a vengeful spirit born from the depths of her grief and guilt. Maria realized too late that the Tiyanak sought revenge. It blamed her for the life it had never lived, for the innocence stolen from it. The creature lunged again, its claws grazing her arm, and she screamed in agony. Desperation overcame Maria as she scrambled to her feet and fled, the Tiyanak hot on her heels. Through the maze of alleyways and neon-lit streets, she ran, her breath coming in ragged gasps. The city seemed to close in around her, its nightclubs and drug dens offering no solace, no escape. The Tiyanak pursued her relentlessly, its unearthly cries echoing through the urban chaos. It was a relentless force of vengeance, determined to make Maria pay for her perceived sins. She reached out to friends and family, but they could neither see nor hear the fiendish creature that stalked her. Days turned into nights, and Maria's sanity began to unravel. She was plagued by horrific visions of her lost child, distorted by anger and pain. She couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't escape the relentless torment of the Tiyanak. In her darkest hour, Maria turned to the only person she believed could help her, the local Mancuculum, a witch doctor rumored to possess the power to control supernatural entities. With a trembling heart, she approached the old woman and begged for her assistance. The Mancuculum agreed, but her price was steep. She demanded a lock of Maria's hair and a promise that she would never return to the balit tree. Maria agreed without hesitation, willing to sacrifice anything to be free from the relentless Tiyanak. Under the witch doctor's guidance, Maria underwent a harrowing ritual that would sever her connection to the vengeful spirit. The Tiyanak raged and wailed, its anger palpable in the air. But the Mangkukulam's incantations grew stronger, and slowly, the creature's power began to wane. With a final, bone-chilling shriek, the Tiyanak dissipated into a wisp of smoke, vanishing into the night. Maria was left trembling and exhausted, but finally free from the relentless pursuit of her child's vengeful spirit. As Maria emerged from the dark world of the supernatural, she knew she could never forget the horrors she had witnessed. Her grief and guilt would remain with her, a heavy burden she would carry for the rest of her life. The Tiyanak was gone, but the scars it had left behind would never fade. In the heart of Manila's neon-lit chaos, where the nightclubs and drugs still held sway, Maria walked away with a newfound understanding of the consequences of her actions. She had learned that grief could give birth to unimaginable horrors, and she would forever bear the weight of that knowledge. And so, the legend of the Tiyanak continued to haunt the city's residents, a cautionary tale of the darkness that could lurk within the human soul, and the terrifying consequences of crossing the line between the living and the dead in a world where nightclubs blazed and drugs ran rampant.